passes to the 6, giving goal with Baylor and Jorge has the ball on the right side. Tinger trying to get around one Connecticut Husky, having some problems. The ball goes out of bounds. The last touch by, I believe, Tinger, and the Huskies will have a goal kick as the ball went over the goal line right around the Husky side of the field. And taking that goal kick will be Charlie McSpirit. McSpirit wearing number 5, so the captain from Maloney, New Jersey, sending that field for Elvis Comrie. Comrie couldn't get a head on it, and coming down with the ball is Jim Dorsano. Dorsano passing back to Elvis Comrie. Comrie controlling the ball, getting it across midfield. It has the ball stolen from him by Barry Lynette. Lynette controlling it, getting it back to teammate Mark Talkington. Talkington passing it up on the right side for Tinger, but Jimmy Lyman comes up with it, and Lyman smartly sends the ball back to Tony Pierce. Well, Pierce can start it up for the Connecticut Huskies. Pierce wearing a yellow top with his black shorts on, in the goal position. Passing on the right side over to Eddie Lynch. Lynch up to Carlos. Carlos has the ball taken away by a Cardinal player. And coming backward on the other side is number 10, Willie Gucci. Gucci sending the ball on a shot. But it goes wide to the left by about 3 feet. Pierce was there to cut off the angle if anything was going to happen. But Gucci shot it just a little bit too early. And no goal on the play. And Connecticut will have another goal kick, their second this early in the contest. And as we will repeat throughout the game, we do not have a clock, so we can't tell you the official time. Approximately 40 minutes, or 42 minutes to go in the first half. Angel Vasquez comes up and steals the ball. He has it on the left side looking for Tinger, but he can't get to him as Jimmy Lyman comes up and makes a very nice steal, and Lyman overruns the ball himself but regains control. But pass to the right side to Dorsano. Dorsano run off the ball by Whittam, but the ball goes out of bounds right in front of the Husky bench, and Connecticut will have a throw-in.
UConn doesn't have many men forward at this point in the game. It seems like they're laying back, and in that situation, I think it was Lyman had the ball, and he had Conley ahead of him, but everybody else is pretty much standing around waiting for something to happen.
The Huskies have been having problems with offsides, getting called for a lot of offsides violations, and I think they're trying to be extra careful today. They might have some sort of disincentive for getting an offside violation as they did a few games earlier. Throwing for Stanford is kicked right to the foot of Jimmy Lyman. Lyman sending it up for Dorsano, but Dorsano couldn't save it before it went out of bounds, and Stanford with a throw on the far sideline. Jim Whittam again. Whittam from Fresno, California, one of the home state people, sends in a pass, but Eric Lyman comes up with a steal. Lyman sends a pass up for a break. Elvis Comrie. Comrie has 1-on-3 break. Looking on the right side for Jim Dorsano, but Dorsano is lagging behind in the play, and Jim Whittam comes up and makes the easy steal. So no real threat for Connecticut on the Stanford attack. And coming up with it is the goalie, Willie Burkhart. Burkhart sending that ball away towards midfield where Charlie McSpirit gets a foot on it. McSpirit going up for Dorsano, but Dorsano collides with Kingston. Walter Kingston, who is a midfielder, a sophomore in Vernon City, California. Both fell down on the play. The ball is loose in front. Kingston now comes up with it. Kingston passing the left side over for Vasquez. Vasquez controlling it. Passes back to Whittam. And Stanford with a few good passes, but they're really not going anywhere. The ball goes out of bounds. Last touch by Stanford. And Connecticut on the throw-in again from the far sideline. No score here early in the game. The third game on the Western trip for the Connecticut Huskies. Connecticut 0, Stanford 0. Connecticut controlling the ball. Elvis Comrie on the right sideline going towards the touchline. Gets the ball knocked away by Vasquez. It goes out of bounds. And it'll be another Connecticut throw-in. There's a nice defensive play by Vasquez, and the Huskies are out now. One of their best opportunities on the offensive side so far. McSpirit with the throw-in, but blasted away by Jim Whittam. Again goes out of bounds. Another throw-in for Connecticut. They're going to have to run away for the run down and get the ball. As Jeff has mentioned earlier, another game with no ball boys. Most are very unlike the ones that we have guarded down. We have about 6 or 7 of them on the sidelines. Connecticut with the ball. This is Charlie McSpirit out front for Eddie Lynch. Lynch sending it back for Jimmy Lyman, but Lyman wasn't ready for the ball. He did just get it back to Eddie Lynch. Lynch sends it into the penalty area. Coming up with his Carlos. He's up there in the penalty area. In front, sending a pass in front for Elvis Comrie, but it's knocked away by the Cardinals, and they keep controlling the ball. Stanford controlling it. On the left side is Ted Rafalevich. Rafalevich sending a pass upfield, looking for teammate Jorge Tinger, but coming up making a beautiful sliding tackle is Bill Maloney. It goes out of bounds. They're going to rule it. Last touch by Stanford. Connecticut with the throw-in.
Stanford's using Tittinger a lot like San Francisco used Fidelis Sategbu, trying to keep him up on the one corner, looking for the long pass.
Gabrino with a shot on goal, but it's going to go wide to the left as he took it right outside the penalty area. He was looking for a breaking Jim Dorsano or Elvis Comrie, and he's saying, "Why aren't you there?" And neither of them did go to make the break, so it's going to be a goal kick for Stanford, and a little bit of lack of communication between the forwards for the Connecticut Huskies. Taking the goal kick will be Willie Burkhart. Burkhart having to make only a few very easy saves, not tested in the early going here. He sends it upfield, and Eddie Lynch gets a foot on it, but he knocks it out of bounds, and Connecticut will lose the ball to Stanford. Stanford with the throw-in. Connecticut's going to have to score some goals here to keep their dominance in the top 20 poll. They're going to have to beat Stanford by a convincing margin. They lost to number 5 San Francisco the other day, so they'll probably be knocked out of the number 1 spot, but we're wondering how far down they're going to go.
Maloney said after the San Francisco game that he was pretty certain.
Break on the action. Charlie McSpirit sends a shot up front, but Willie Burkhardt comes and makes the save. Sorry about that, Jeff. Continue.
Coach Maloney said after the San Francisco game he doubted if this team would remain number one. St. Louis defeated Indiana a couple days ago. I don't know if you heard that or not, but St. Louis beat Indiana. I believe it was at Indiana. So that'll hurt Indiana's hopes of being number one. And I think San Francisco, or maybe even Clemson, who hasn't team that hasn't lost a game, may take over number one ranking.
A lot of those top five teams losing to each other. Of course, the Huskies defeating St. Louis and Indiana. Indiana defeating San Francisco, but losing to St. Louis. And San Francisco beating the Huskies and Indiana. And losing to Indiana, excuse me. So a lot of 1-1 records versus those top teams. And the Huskies are now 8-1, and we'll see how far down they go. Stanford controlling the ball. This is Barry Lynette. Passing on the right side for Tedro Falovich. Falovich in front for the goal for Barry Lynette. Pierce coming out to make the save. It's still loose in front. No call is going to be blasted on the play by Eric Myron. Myron over to Bill Maloney, but a perfect opportunity for a Stanford score. But Lynch came out and cut down the angles. There was an unmarked man in front of the Connecticut goal. And the Huskies still not out of trouble yet. This is Pedro DeBrito, but he's run off the ball by Angel Vasquez. And there's going to be a whistle and a push on Vasquez. And DeBrito will have a direct kick, or the Huskies will have a direct kick.
They're playing for the net hold. The ball is rolling slowly towards Tony Pierce, and he ran out, it was really a race to the ball, but he didn't win it. He did manage to kind of mess up the Stanford offense, and McSpirit was able to clear it.
Did I mistakenly say UConn lost to Indiana? Okay, UConn beat Indiana. Let's check that. UConn beat Indiana and St. Louis. And they lost to San Francisco. Right now, ball loose right around the midfield area. Bill Maloney collecting in on the left side. Maloney going man-to-man with Ted Rafalovich. Sends it up for Pedro DeBrito. DeBrito has problems with about three Stanford players as he's being triple-teamed so far today. And the ball is sent back from Doug Clark to the goalkeeper, Willie Burkhardt. And Burkhardt likes corralling that ball in and hugging it. And Jim Dorsano, they're trying to see if he can make Burkhardt make a mistake. And he's going to be called for a jumping-in call. And Burkhardt will take a direct kick. But the Rosario playing very aggressive in the offense, just seeing if they could gather in a goal like they did versus San Francisco when the goalie just dropped the ball in front. Now Connecticut controlling the ball, but they're going to send it all the way back to Tony Pierce to start up the offense. As Jorge Tittinger looking to gobble up any Connecticut mistake, much like San Francisco's player Tegbu did yesterday, or Friday. Connecticut controlling the ball. This is Charlie McSpirit. McSpirit looking to get it up to Carlos, but he's run off the ball by Tom McGinnon. McGinnon has another brother on the team, Jack, but he's not playing right now. And McGinnon sends the ball downfield, but it's stolen by Connecticut. And coming up with the ball will be Tim Maisley one more time. And let's see if Connecticut can do something for that offense, which has been pretty stagnant throughout most of the two games they've played here in the West Coast in California. Stanford controlling the ball now. I believe it's Ted Rafalovich on the left side, passing out in front for Walter Kingston. Kingston back to Rafalovich. Rafalovich looking up front for a breaking Willie Gucci, but it's stolen by Charlie McSpirit. McSpirit up to DeBrito. DeBrito up to Bill Maloney. And Maloney giving it to DeBrito. He's streaking down the left sideline. DeBrito controlling the ball. Following him is Kingston and number 2, Mike Tarkenton. And DeBrito's brought down, and we have a whistle and a tripping call. And I believe we might even get a yellow card in the game. No yellow card, but a warning to Tom McGinnon, and the Huskies are going to have a direct kick about 2 feet outside the penalty area on the left side. So a very good opportunity for the Huskies to put the ball in the net mighty early. This is going to be McSpirit, DeBrito, and Lyman behind the ball. They're going to set up, I believe, a 2-man wall. Stanford is, and the Huskies are going to have all their men back looking for the header. Let's see who's going to take the ball and put it in the play. McSpirit over to DeBrito, shot and goal! Oh, it's over the crossbar! It was almost hitting the top corner of the goal, but it just went over, and a beautiful shot by DeBrito. That the Huskies are still scoreless in this game, and there'll be a goal kick for Stanford.
That was almost like a field goal attempt. McSpirit it was almost like a hike, but didn't really hike it, but he kicked it over to Jim Lyman, who set the ball down, and DeBrito came up and kicked it. Almost hit the upper left corner of the net, but just a little bit high. And UConn has possession again, though.
Graziano Corona checking the game for the first time today. He has control of the ball after the goal kick, and there's a steal on the play, and Vasquez comes up with it. Vasquez setting it up for Gucci. Gucci giving the goal back to Vasquez, and he enters the Connecticut side of the field. A shot all the way down, looking for Tinger. The Pierce coming out of the goal. He made a mistake, and he's going to shot and score by Tinger. Pierce came out a little bit too far, and Tinger stole the ball, went right around Pierce, and put it to the wall right-hand corner. And Stanford is taking the lead early in the game. It's Stanford 1 and Connecticut 0.
That play, Tony Pierce made a big mistake. He wanted to come out and cut down the angle, but he didn't come out hard enough. He looked like he was hesitating for a second. He was in between, didn't really know whether to go forward or not. And once he made up his mind to go forward, Tittinger with great speed, he got the ball by him, and really took his time setting up the shot. They had a couple of UConn defenders back there. There's really not much they could do about it. And Coach Maloney throws down the clipboard. Can't blame him for that one. And you can't blame him for not being too happy with it.
Tinger scoring his 12th goal of the season for his 27th point. I believe it'd be unassisted because he did get the ball back from Tony Pierce. We don't know. We'll see what they're going to roll on the play. But we do not have the official time. We're going to give it an estimated guess. It's about 30 minutes to go. Is it at the 15-minute mark about?
Between 10 minutes, I think 10, 12 minutes, somewhere in there.
We'll have to see. But right now, Connecticut's going to have to come from behind to see what they can do in this one. And Bill Murray's going to take a throw in right in front of us. Murray gets it to Comrie. Comrie gets it off the back of his hand looking for DeBrito, but there's a steal on the play by Tom McGinn. And Stanford coming back the other way. Maybe it's a wake up the Husky offense. They have really been sleeping here on the West Coast. They might be playing a time it's 3 hours behind the times, thinking it's still the East Coast time. I know I mentioned that last game, but they have really been having some problems waking up on the West Coast. They've only scored 1 goal in each of the last 2 games. Maybe they should have saved some of those 9 goals from Bridgeport and used them here on the West Coast. Connecticut controlling the ball. They're deep into Stanford territory. This is Graciano Cornolo. Cornolo trying to get around Vasquez, sending a pass up to Eddie Lynch. Lynch sending one in front for the goalie, for Elvis Comrie, but instead it turns into a shot on goal as it goes wide to the left, and Comrie does not take the opportunity to put the ball in. He was a little bit behind the play, and the shot by Lynch was just a little bit too hard. So the other goal kick for Stanford, and the Huskies are going to have to start waking up.
I'd like to say a big hello to Wendy Ray, listening in Stores, Connecticut. I understand she hasn't felt too good the last couple of days. Hope she's feeling better.
Stanford with the goal kick right to the head of Tim Maisley. Maisley controls it, gets it down to Graciano Cornolo on the right side. Cornolo trying to get on a few Stanford players, gets it back to Maisley, and passes on the right side to Eddie Lynch. Lynch, who is now in the Stanford area, sends the ball into the penalty area, but it's kicked away and over the goal line. Last touch by, I believe, a Connecticut Husky on the play back, and it'll be a throw-in for Stanford right in front of the scorer's table on the opposite side of the field, right around midfield, and looking to take the throw-in, I believe, will be number 4, Jim Whittam. Whittam throws it in on the left side, looking for Ted Rafalovich. A whistle on the play, and let's see what they're going to call.
Can't really see from here. It may have been an offsides call because I think it was Jim Lyman came up at the last second trying to get the offsides call. I think that's what happened.
Well, if it is, it's Connecticut's ball nonetheless, and they take the kick, and it's Charlie McSpears sending it upfield for DeBrito, and it's stolen on the play by Angel Vasquez. Vasquez passing on the right side to Willie Gucci. Gucci sending it into the Connecticut zone for Tittinger. Tittinger man-to-man with Jimmy Lyman. Lyman gets the ball away from him. Pierce comes way out of the goal. But Tittinger is going to be some problems today as he's been taking some nice breaks and almost putting the ball in the air for the second time within 5 minutes.
Some fans yelling about obstruction. I think there may have been obstruction on Jimmy Lyman, who the ball was rolling back to Pierce, and Tittinger was moving in, and Lyman, I think he did get in the way on that one, but it wasn't the penalty box. I don't think the refs are too inclined to call that.
And Graciano Cornolo controlling the ball. Cornolo gets it back to Bill Maloney. Maloney right around midfield on the Connecticut side of the field. Now crosses the midfield stripe and sends a pass up to Elvis Comrie. Comrie loses control of it. It's knocked away from behind by a Stanford player. I believe it was number 18, Doug Clark. And Connecticut will take this throw in, and Billy Maloney will do the honors. Maloney in for Carlos. Carlos sends it over to Eddie Lynch, and Lynch lobs it over to Jimmy Lyman. Lyman sending it into the area, into the attacking third area for Eric Myron. Myron on the left side over for Mark Talkington. A whistle on the play, and I believe that ball went out of bounds. Talkington could not save it. And Connecticut will have a throw in, and that's exactly what they're going to call. And Carlos.
A late call on that one.
Carlos will take the throw in on the delayed call. He's looking for a few open Huskies, passing it back to Jimmy Lyman. Lyman's sending a lob in front for Elvis Comrie, but a whistle right on an offsides violation, and the Huskies are saying, where was the offsides?
DeBrito, I believe, calling that one. He didn't agree with the call too much, but he was called for offsides. UConn playing a little bit more aggressively now that they are behind a goal, 1-0. We've got about 30 minutes left in the first half, I believe, and they're playing a little bit more inspired.
Well, Connecticut controlling the ball. It's Jimmy Lyman gets the header, throws it down to Billy Maloney. Maloney sending it upfield, but it's stolen there by Tinger. Tinger coming back on the right, getting a pass to Ted Rafalovich, but Charlie McSpirit there to make the steal, but Rafalovich gets it right back. Rafalovich right along the right sideline, setting up a centering pass, but a whistle on the play. I believe Rafalovich went just a little bit too far over the goal line, and Connecticut will have a goal kick.
Good speed now. Ted Rafalovich going down the right sideline, beating a UConn player, but Charlie McSpirit able to make the stop, play a little good defense there.
And Connecticut controlling the ball. Carlos sending it into the Cardinal area for Number 7, Pedro DeBrito. DeBrito trying to run circles around one Stanford player. That's Jim Whittam. He finally gets by him and sends a pass up to Bill Maloney, but Maloney gets tripped on the play, no call, and Angel Vasquez sends a pass all the way into the Connecticut zone for Tim Maisley. And Maisley will gather it up, get it over to Eddie Lynch, and Lynch controls the ball, passing over to Pedro DeBrito, and the Connecticut offense will try to start it up. They're one goal down here early in the game, and they're going to have to see if they can get back on the board and tie this game up. This is Bill Maloney. Maloney right around the midfield stripe. Gets it over to Graziano Cornello. Cornello back for Lynch, but a tripping call on number 8, Tom McGannon. And, matter of fact, no, that's not a tripping call. Must have been a fan in the stands with a whistle behind us. But I thought I heard a whistle, and we do have a couple fans here yelling trip. But no whistle. The ball rolled all the way back to Willie Burkhart, the goalie. And Stanford will take control of the ball.
Well, we're sitting here. You could probably hear a lot of the fans because actually we're right in the middle of everything. On a little bench here to finally get our power with about a 20, 30-foot extension cord going into the scoreboard. It's a baseball field behind us.
And it's a beautiful baseball field. As that, one of the top college baseball fields you'll probably see. Right now, Connecticut had control of the ball stolen by Stanford, and they're going to take it into the Connecticut side of the field. Angel Vasquez has the ball run off and in by Billy Maloney. Our next sports broadcast will be this Tuesday when the Connecticut Husky field hockey team will face the Springfield Indians. That'll be from Storrs, Connecticut. And we'll have to check the time for you on that one. I believe it's going to be at 2:55 p.m. Right now, Connecticut controlling the ball, very deep in the Stanford zone. This is Carlos. Carlos shot on goal, but right to the hands of Willie Burkhart, as Carlos was shooting from point blank right in front of the goal. And Burkhart made the easy save. Now Graziano Cornello going back to hamper Burkhart in his throw. As he stands right in front of him, Burkhart does manage to get it out to Doug Clark. Clark controlling the ball. And
it's like pushing against Stanford, and Carlos is down the ground, holding his head, but seems to be all right. He took quite a shot in the San Francisco game, got kicked in the leg, and that's bothered him the last couple of days. Kind of wondering if he would even start today, but he is in the lineup.
And Huskies got a direct kick from about 20 yards out of the penalty area, and there's everyone lining up right along the penalty line, and it looks like Jimmy Lyman's going to send the ball into play. Lyman sending a chip around the front, looking for someone to get a header, but coming out to make the play is Willie Burkhart. And I believe we're going to have a jumping in call against the Huskies anyway. And it's going to be a goal kick or a direct kick for Stanford Cardinals. And taking the ball on the play is Willie Burkhart. Burkhart sitting right around midfield. Jimmy Lyman gets a head on it, but taking the ball and controlling it is Jorge Tinger. Tinger has the only goal of the game so far. And he has the ball stolen from Lyman in a very obvious flagrant trip on Tinger. We're just going to have a tripping call, and the Huskies will have a direct kick right around midfield right in front of us.
That was comment on that direct kick by Jim Lyman. After that, he was lying on the ground holding his stomach. He really hasn't felt well the last few days. He, of course, he had a flu or some kind of infection about 3 weeks ago. Missed a few games and came down with a cold a few days ago. And today he didn't really want to talk much. And we forgot, Huskies right on the penalty area, but the ball gets cleared away right towards midfield, and racing for it is Jimmy Lyman. At the beginning of the broadcast, we forgot to mention with all our other sponsors, the special sponsors for this special 3-game series, Paperback Alley of South Windsor and Foreign Car Cure of Simsbury. So I'd like to remind you that they're also helping us underwrite UConn Husky Sports. Tinger controlling the ball. He's on the offensive side with Vasquez. He makes a pass on the left side over to Ted Rafalovic. Rafalovic in the corner, and the Huskies are back on defense. Rafalovic sending a centering pass, looking for Billy Lynette. Lynette gets a head on it, but he chips it right in front for Tony Pierce, and Pierce comes out and makes the easy save. That's one of the first times that Stanford has been on the offense since they scored that goal. Huskies have been doing most of the aggressiveness, but making most of the plays towards the Stanford side, but they've yet to put the ball in the net. And this is Graziano Cornello whistling the play, and he was pushed from behind by Tom McGannon. And our halftime guest is going to be the Stanford Athletic Director, Andy Geiger. And Geiger has been a past athletic director for Penn and Brown. And we'll see. He knows a little bit about the Eastern sports and a little bit about the Western sports. And we'll see what we can get him to tell us about Stanford athletics and anything else he wants to talk about, especially soccer and football. Soccer's going to be a pretty big sport out here as well as football, which is always tough with the Pac-10. Willie Burkhart controlling as the goalie for Stanford, and the Huskies starting to play more aggressive ball, but haven't been really playing the offense they had been playing back out east. And the ball sent right towards midfield. It's headed there by Jorge Tinger. Tinger sends it back to Kingston. Kingston sending it into the Husky side. There's a race for the ball between Myron and Billy Lynette. And getting to the ball first is Lynette. And Lynette sends it upfield just a little bit. And it's still being loose there between Lyman and Tinger. And Lyman and Tinger are really going at each other. But Lyman's going to get called for the trip, even though Tinger did not go down in the play.
But Lyman playing some very fine man-to-man marking on the defensive side, trying to hold Tinger, who's already scored 1 goal so far today. But it'll be a direct kick. This one by Walter Kingston. And it'll be about 15 to 20 yards out of the penalty area. And Kingston takes the kick, hits it right off Carlos. Carlos is back. Good play on defense by Carlos. And again, coming back with his Kingston. Kingston sitting in front for number 10. Really Gucci by Tony Pierce very alertly coming out to make the defensive play out of the goal as the Huskies left Gucci unmarked. And they're having some breakdown of communication back there in the backfield. We're going to see what the Huskies are going to have to do to get this defense going. Of course, John Brubaker is out with Charlie Rose, so he has not been playing at all. And he won't be playing at all today. And the substitute in for him is Eddie Lynch, but these players have played together and substituting into the game later into the game. It's not starters, but they have played with each other, and they're just not communicating very properly. As the Huskies have already let in 1 goal, and they're looking to let in another if they keep this up.
Stanford's really actually the Huskies have let too many guys unmarked into the penalty box. That last save by Tony Pierce, another example, where the Stanford guy just comes roaring in and no one's there to pick him up, and it's going to cost a couple goals if that keeps up throughout the game.
Graciano Cornell setting right in front for Charlie McSpirit. McSpirit over to the Brito, give and go back to McSpirit. Shot, but it's a weak one, and coming up with his Willie Burkhardt. And Burkhardt quickly outlets it up towards the middle for Jorge Tinger. Tinger sending it off his chest, sending it upfield, but Billy Maloney intercepts it between him and Ted Rafalovich. And Maloney sending all the way back for Tony Pierce, and Pierce is going to smartly out with the ball on the right side to Eddie Lynch. Lynch controlling it for Connecticut. Sending it up for Graciano Cornell, makes a nice fake and brings down Angel Vasquez, and Cornell passing up on the right side to Pedro DeBrito. DeBrito getting on one Stanford Cardinal, coming in towards the penalty area. Looking on the right side, now pass to the left, looking for number 11, Elvis Conley, but is kicked up and on away by the Cardinals, and settled down by Carlos. Carlos over to Eric Myron. Myron back to Carlos, and he's being guarded there man-to-man by Mark Talkington. Talkington gets out of the way. Myron gets the ball on the play. Myron over to Charlie McSpirit. McSpirit looking to send it in on the penalty area, but it's kicked out by Vasquez one more time. Carlos fighting with the ball with Gucci, and coming up with it. It was number 13, Ted Rafalovich, and Rafalovich sends it downfield for number 9, Jorge Tinger. It's going to be a 1-on-2, Tinger versus Lynch and Pierce. He's coming out on the right side. Tinger gets a shot, but Lynch makes gets it off the side of his foot, and Pierce makes a diving save, but he can't get it before it goes over the goal line. So it'll be a corner kick for the Cardinals, with, let's say, approximately 15 to 20 minutes to go in this half.
25. I think it's closer to 25.
I think you're wrong. It's a 1-0 Cardinal lead, but we do not have the official time, and we have to apologize for that, but there was no scoreboard out here at Maloney Field.
Kieran Coffey coming in for Ed Lynch. Coffey's played very well on this road trip, especially with San Francisco. Rafalovich
sends it up to a grounder right in front of the goal, but Jimmy Lyman disposes of it and gets it right back to Rafalovich. This time, Rafalovich chips in front. Graciano Cornell with a nice hitter. Getting on the right side and looking for it is number 21 for the Connecticut Huskies, Tom Thompson. Thompson also checking the game during that last time out. We don't see who he came in for. I believe it was for Carlos. Well, let me check that. It was Elvis Comrie. And ball goes out of bounds. Last touch by a Connecticut Husky. And so Stanford will have the throw in. And I believe it's going to be Jorge Tinger from the far sideline.
Tinger nearly had a goal in that last drive. Nice lead pass up to him. And UConn had one defender back and didn't really cover him very well.
Tinger sends it in for Rafalovich. And it's stolen there by Billy Maloney. Maloney getting around one Cardinal, getting over to Graciano Cornell. And Cornell coming up towards the middle, but he gets the ball stripped from him by Barry Lynette. Lynette can't control the ball for very long. Coming back with the Huskies, and this is Eric Myron on the left side. Myron looking for Tom Thompson upfield, but he gets around number 5, Barry Lynette, and then gets a pass to Thompson. Thompson being badgered from behind by Mark Talkington. He goes down the play, and Talkington comes up with the ball very cleanly, and the ball goes out of bounds. Last touch by Tim Mason, who came over to guard Talkington, and coming up with the ball is it's going to be a hold on Connecticut. And it's going to be a direct kick for Walter Kingston. And we got an unofficial attendance, 2,600, which is quite a difference from my little prediction of 500. I don't see where they're putting all the 2,000 people. But that's unofficial attendance saying Walter Kingston taking a direct kick and headed away by Charlie McSpirit, and coming up with it is Bill Maloney. Huskies controlling the ball on the right side. Pedro DeBrito trying to get a foot on it, and he does keep control of it. He's being badgered there by Angel Vasquez, and he gets across the midfield line. He still has Vasquez with him stride for stride. Both players go down. It goes out of bounds. Last touch by Vasquez, and taking the throw will be Kieran Coffey. Coffey looking to get the ball in. Gets to Charlie McSpirit, but right behind McSpirit is Rafalovich, but McSpirit makes a nifty play and passes it over on the left side to number 3, Jimmy Lyman. Lyman chips one in front, looking for his Graciano Cornell, but coming out to make the save is really Burkhardt, as McSpirit's chip was just a little bit too far for Graziano. And Stanford will take the ball and bring it back the other way. Approximately 15 to 20 minutes to go here in the first half. The score, Stanford 1, Connecticut 0 on a Jorge Tinger shot on goals. He stole it from Tony Pierce and put it into the lower right-handed net. Even though there were two Huskies there, they could not stop the play because they did not have the use of their hands. They could only kick it around, and Tinger made a very nice play and just kicked it right to the lower right-hand of the corner of the goal. Stanford has the ball, kicking it up the air is Tom McGinnon, and looking to settle it down is Kieran Coffey, and Coffey lets the ball go out of bounds first, and he'll make the throw-in right around the midfield line, right in front of the official scorers table. Coffey throws it into play. DeBrito gets a hit on it. DeBrito looking for Carlos. Carlos can't get it. There's a steal in the play by Stanford. On the ball is loose, and Carlos comes up with it. Carlos passing it over to Charlie McSpirit. McSpirit's fouled on the play, no call, and Stanford's going to bring it back the other way. Eric Myron battling for it with Barry Lynette, and Myron makes the steal. Myron on the left side. Now he's throwing the ball up, sending it back to Jimmy Lyman, and Lyman will start it up, but he gets the ball stripped from him by Barry Lynette, and they're going down with it the other way. Withalovich on the right side over to Lynette. Lynette on a 2-on-5 break, sends it up for Tinger, but Tinger did not want to go offside, so he stayed behind the Husky, in front of the Husky backfield, and the ball goes all the way rolling to Tony Pearson. Pierce outlets on the right side to Kieran Coffey. Coffey trying to go through the legs of Tinger, making a bad move as Tinger comes up with a steal. Tinger in front for Withalovich. Withalovich looking to make the play, looking on the right side for Lynette, looking on the left side for Tinger, and he gets stripped from behind by Lyman, and the Huskies taken and blasted back the other way. Ball is loose. Coming down with his Jim Whittam. Whittam right side over to Walter Kingston. Kingston having the ball. He's right around the midfield area, right around the circle, looking on the left side for teammate Whittam. Whittam now looking to make a play out in front, looking for Tinger, but Lyman intercepts the ball right between both of them and sending it back upfield for Pedro DeBrito. DeBrito right side over Graziano Cornolo. Cornolo trying to go around Vasquez, does so as he sends a chipper right downfield for DeBrito, and it's going to be kicked away by Tom McGinnon, I believe off the hands of Pedro DeBrito. We should get a handball violation. Let's see what they're going to call. A whistle on the play. DeBrito's down. I believe he's holding his ankle. I don't know if it's too serious.
We'll have an injury timeout, Harold.
And we will have an injury timeout. The clock will stop. And we don't know how much time is left. Ralph Mansell coming out to attend to DeBrito, but I did not actually catch that last play. Do you know what the referee whistled on that one, Jeff?
I'm not really sure either.
You're not very awake, are you, Jeff?
Oh, I'm aware of it. Well, that's what you do, did you?
No, I didn't. And then again, I was looking at the play. I'd like to remind you of some upcoming broadcasts on the Sound Alternative. This Tuesday, Connecticut Husky field hockey team, who's been going up and down in the top 20, I believe, down lately, as they've been losing quite a bit. They'll be playing Springfield at home. Airtime at 2:55 on the Sound Alternative. Our next broadcast after that will be this Friday. The Huskies versus Dartmouth in Hanover, New Hampshire.
DeBrito's coming out, and Elvis County can replace him.
And there was a direct kick for Stanford, so the penalty was called on the Huskies. Maybe the handball violation did hold. Tinger controlling it for Stanford. Tinger being hampered there by Carlos. Carlos as he's defending him very tightly, but he gets a pass off on the left side over to Vasquez. Vasquez going man-to-man with Kieran Coffey, and Coffey comes up with the ball, but Vasquez re-steals it and sends it back on the left side over for Ted Withalovich. Withalovich controlling, sending it into the middle, but Tim Maisley coming and making the play before it can get to Willie Gucci, and Maisley sending it downfield, but I believe it was last touched by Maisley, and no, they're going to call the Huskies' ball as all the Stanford players were pointing towards their way, and all the Husky players were pointing towards their way, but the referee agreed with Connecticut, and they will have the throw-in.
Huskies going to have to wake up a little bit. They are marking tight on defense, but they just don't seem to be very alert to what's happening. Kieran Coffey got beat with a nutmeg. Ball go right between his legs, and that's happened a lot to the other Husky players.
And right now, it's Charlie McSpirit taking control of the ball for just a moment. He's sending upfield, Talkington coming down with the steal. Pass to the right side, all the way to Ted Withalovich. It's going to be another 1-on-2 break. Withalovich versus Maloney and Myron and Lynch. And Myron comes up and makes nice plays. He steals it on the right side and he gets it over to Lynch. But the Huskies are not marking their men. They're not coming back, and they're not making the proper transfer from the offense to the defense. And they're going to have some problems unless they start waking up on the offensive side of the field. This is Graziano Cornolo right around midfield area. Pass up on the right side for Elvis Comrie. Comrie going right in with Tom McGinnon, and there's a race on the field. The ball goes out of bounds. Last touch by McGinnon, and the Huskies will have a throw-in. Huskies from the far sideline, right around the penalty area. They're looking to get the throw-in into Kieran Coffey as now Comrie does not want to take the throw-in, and he gives it to Coffey to take the throw-in. And the throw-in goes into the middle towards Elvis Comrie, and Comrie trying to get around one Stanford player, sends one in the middle for Graziano Cornolo, but Cornolo is not there to get it, and it's sent out and a nice defensive play by Barry Lynette. Lynette can't clear it far enough. Barry Maloney comes in on the left side. He's going towards the sideline. He gets punched, or not punched, but battened into by number 2, Mark Talkington. Ball goes out of bounds on the play, and the Huskies will have a throw, and they're right around the baseline, or the goal line, on the Stanford side of the field. Maloney taking the throw, and he gets it all the way to Graziano Cornolo on the penalty area, but it's knocked away out of bounds by Doug Clark, and I believe we're going to have the first Husky corner kick of the afternoon.
It's the first one. Maloney tossed the ball in, and Carlos, tightly defended by number 18, Doug Clark, and Clark kicks it out of bounds, and that will be another throw in right down by the corner. It's hard to see from this angle because we're basically right on the sideline.
So another throw in. Maloney getting in, looking for Tom Thompson. The ball is headed up by a Stanford player, settled down by Myron, and Rafalowicz pushes in. He's going to get a hold on the play, and they're going to have a direct kick there about 5 yards out of the penalty area on the left side of the middle. Good opportunity for the Huskies to get into the net. Let's see if they can do it.
They're running from the net now, and on the kick earlier by DeBrito, the one set up by Lyman, it was a nice kick. And this is basically, it was around the same area, maybe about 3 or 4 yards away. And we got McSpear and Lyman there, but DeBrito's out with the injury. Conley's going to come in and talk about who's going to take the kick.
And we're looking at DeBrito on the sidelines, and he's taking off his shoe. And here's the kick. It's McSpear left side to Cornello. Cornello can't beat the ball to the goal line, and instead Willie Burkhardt beats the goal and pushes it over the goal line. The Huskies will have their first corner kick of the day.
Cornello going around the left side, beating the wall to the ball. Nice pass. And we got a couple substitutions here for Connecticut. Brian Stevenson coming in, and along with Ed Lynch going out, Jim Lyman and Eric Myron, the freshman, who's played very well today. In fact, he's played very well in all 3 of these games.
Corner kick will be had by Carlos. See if the Huskies can do something. He sends it a little bit too far in front, and punching it out of the way is Burkhardt, but the Huskies are looking to make control of it, and Bill Maloney gets it on the right goal line. It's going to be Maloney going out with Tom McGannon. McGannon wins the play, sends it all the way upfield, but Tim Maisley gets it before it gets across the midfield line and sends it back on the right side of the penalty area for Elvis Conley. Conley sending it down. It goes out of bounds. Last touch by Stanford. The Huskies with their second corner kick within the span of 1 minute.
I thought Elvis could get the shot off there, but I guess the angle was a bit too sharp for him. So let the ball, he pretty much guarded the ball from the Stanford defender and let it roll out of bounds. And we have Carlos taking the kick here. I guess we got about 15 minutes left.
10 to 15 minutes left in the first half. Remember, we overestimated just a little bit last game.
I was going to say 10. That's safe. 10 to 15.
Let's say 10 to 15. And they're going to be another corner kick. This time again, Carlos will do the duty since DeBrito's on the bench. Chips one out in front. Nice one. Maloney looking for the header, but punched away by Burkhardt. And Burkhardt gets it all the way out to McGannon. McGannon sends it all the way towards midfield where Charlie McSpear will have it. So Stanford looking to retreat and get on the offense. But McSpear keeps the ball in play, and Stanford gets the steal as Rafalowicz comes up and right around midfield. This is Ted Rafalowicz. Rafalowicz looking on the left side, looking for some bit of someone that's on his team that's wide open. He gets in the middle to Barry Lynette. Lynette being hampered there by 2 Huskies. The ball is loose now in front, and looking for it is, I believe, number 10, Willie Gucci. Loose on the play, and we're going to have a tripping call on Connecticut. And Stanford will take a direct kick about 10 or 15 yards outside the penalty area. And now they get the chance for the offensive opportunity. Remember, Stanford 1, Connecticut 0. Unlike last year's game when Connecticut really rolled over Stanford by the score of 7-0. I believe Stanford can still remember that. They can still feel it in their bones. There's still a few people on this team that were here last year. Even there's a lot of freshmen integrated into the lineup. And I believe we're going to have a yellow card.
It's going to be on Carlos. I think what happened there is that it's a direct kick, and Carlos was trying to get position against the Stanford player, and I guess he did it in a way that he shouldn't have.
Well, yellow card, first one of the game with about 10 minutes to go in the first half. And he's going to have to be very careful throughout the rest of the game. Carlos not known to play an unphysical type of a game. And that's putting it mildly.
Understatement of the year.
And here's Stanford with the kick. And they're going to do a little bit like the Connecticut Huskies, send one man over, send the second man over. Rafalowicz on the right side looking for Clark, and Pearson keeps him loose in front. Knocked away and over the goal nicely by the freshman Brian Stevenson as Pierce came out and misplayed that ball. And I believe Jim Renehan's getting set to go into the game after that play because Renehan's taking off his jacket, and Maloney does not want to see another goal being put in this game. Pierce had the ball, let loose of it, and it was almost put in the net by Doug Clark, but Brian Stevenson very alertly put it over the net. And it'll be a corner kick for the Stanford team, but Jim Renehan is warming up on the sidelines, and Pierce not playing a very good game, and Maloney knows it right now. Rafalowicz with the corner kick, sending a liner in front, kicked away by Eddie Lynch, back to Rafalowicz into the corner, and Rafalowicz will have another chance to put it in front. Here's a lobber headed up by Mark Talkington, but not headed far enough, and the Huskies get control of the ball, kick it out of bounds, and they'll be a throw-in for Stanford on the near sideline, and this is going to be Walter Kingston. Kingston holding the ball high all of a sudden, now dropping it, and they're going to be a throw-in this time for Jorge Tittinger.
That play by Pierce, it was very poor. He came out slowly again. He could not make up his mind and let the Stanford attacker, I think it was Clark, go right by him, and Stevenson started to go. He was lying on the ground, and he got a leg up, knocked it over the net.
Header foot by Falovich, knocked away by the Huskies over the goal line. Another corner kick, or maybe it's going to be last touch by Stanford. It'll be a goal kick for Connecticut. But again, Tony Pierce not playing very aggressive. He had a few aggressive plays, but maybe coming off the bench like this and not playing he did play versus Bridgeport a week ago, but when you're not coming off the bench regularly, or when you're not playing regularly, it could be a bit of a problems for a goalkeeper or for anybody that just come into the game like that.
Even in the Bridgeport game, Pearson didn't even have to make a save. He faced only 4 shots in the whole game. Here comes the kick by Stanford, probably clearing it over the stands.
And a few fans trying to catch the ball. Matter of fact, they went to the baseball field, and so they're going to need another ball because there are not any ball boys who can get over a baseball field that has barbed wire on top of it.
They're going to have a timeout as they wait for the ball. I think NCAA rules state that you're supposed to have 3 game balls ready at all times on the field, and we're having one thrown in now.
So Bill Maloney will take a throw-in right in front of us. The Huskies are having some problems getting on the board. They're down 1-0. They're having some problems on defense also, and I think Running will be coming into the game very shortly. Conley with the ball over to Dorsano, right in front for Carlos. Carlos, he lobs up on the right side for the Brito, just checking the game, but it's headed away by a Stanford player, and it's headed right to the hands of Louis Burkhart. But the Brito's in the game. He seems to be okay. He probably just had his ankle retaped. And Pedro sticking with Burkhart man to man. As Burkhart boots the ball up towards midfield, but looking forward to Stevenson and Linhart, and Stevenson gets it off his foot to the head of Carlos. Carlos over to Jim Dorsano, who's going to go at it with one Stanford player, but Dorsano wins the battle and sends it over to Kieran Coffey on the right side. Coffey back to Dorsano, looking upfield for a teammate, but he can't beat it before it goes out of bounds. And it'll be a throw-in for Stanford right in front of the Connecticut bench.
I thought UConn would come out this game very hungry and trying to get that win after the loss to San Francisco, but they're not playing as if they even want to play here.
And I believe Coach Joe Maloney cannot be too happy with the type of play his team is showing out here to the West Coast fans. They are not playing very well at all, and I believe the Huskies are going to have to hear something at halftime from the coach. Right now controlling is Gucci. Gucci goes down in the play. We're on a trip on the Huskies. Well, a couple of Huskies were able to make a defensive play, but instead of tackling the ball, they tackled Gucci. He went down. It'll be a direct kick about 5 to 10 yards outside of the penalty area on the left side, entering the attacking third of the field for the Stanford Cardinals.
Well, the reason I thought UConn would play a little bit better today is because the field is larger than any of the other 2 fields they played on. That's 72 yards wide, and I believe it is 120 yards long. So it's more conducive to the Huskies' short passing game.
Falovich gets one over to Vasquez. Vasquez shoots it into the wall. It goes out of bounds. Let's see who touched last. I believe it had to touch a Husky because there's more Huskies on the wall than Stanford Cardinals. It'll be a corner kick for Falovich, and I believe we had a whistle.
We had the horn go off for a substitution. Don't have any substitutions yet, Maloney.
Here we go. Coming out of the game is Barry Lynette, and checking into the game is
22. Looks like Charlie Crane. I can't really see.
I believe it's number 20, Jack McGannon.
Right,
McGannon, the brother of Tom McGannon. Both of those men hailing from Palo Alto. And here's the corner kick by Falovich. Falovich sends it up for a header by Mark Talkington, but the Huskies quickly clear. And coming up with this Jack McGannon, who just checked in the game. McGannon out in front, headed away by Tim Mason up towards the middle of the field. But Tom McGannon, Jack's brother, keeps it in play where the Connecticut Huskies come up again with Rose Steele. This is McSpirit with the ball on the left side. McSpirit up to Elvis Comrie. Comrie being hit there by Talkington, and then Talkington sends the ball out of bounds, and Connecticut want to throw, and quickly Stevenson gets it into Comrie on the left side. Stevenson pass back from Comrie, and he gets it over to Pedro DeBrito. DeBrito trying to get around one Stanford player, gets it in the middle for Carlos. Carlos, but still in by Walter Kingston. Kingston sends it over to Vasquez. Vasquez entering the midfield circle, now going onto the Connecticut side of the field, passing the ball on the left side for a teammate whose number is blinded from me. Now it's Falovich. Falovich controlling the ball right towards the middle, headed away by Brian Stevenson into the middle for Dorsano. Dorsano upfield for Bill Maloney. Maloney tripped on the play, no call, and Stanford comes back with it, and taking control of it is Tom McGannon. And McGannon sends it all the way back to the Stanford side of the field, where the goalkeeper, Willie Burkhart, will take it and throw it out towards the midfield area. Burkhart with a powerful arm gets it out towards midfield. Stanford controls, and this is Falovich in the Husky side of the field. Falovich on the right side looking for a breaking Stanford player, and a whistle on the play, and I believe we're going to have an offsides violation. No offsides. We're going to have a whistle. Let's see what they're going to call. Maybe a push on the Huskies. And it'll be right outside the penalty area as we can see it. And it'll be a direct kick and another very good opportunity for Stanford to score.
And that time, UConn had all the 4 defenders back, and they just thread the needle with a nice pass. But still, UConn doesn't seem to be too quick on defense. not covering those passes too well, and Stanford had a nice opportunity.
Shot and goal! Unbelievable! Shot by Willie Gucci. Tony Pierce did not see it. And Gucci put the ball in the net, and Stanford is taking the lead 2-0. And the Huskies are down 2 goals with about 10 minutes to go in the first half. And here comes the substitution for goalkeeper.
Jim Monahan coming in. Jim Monahan's just had enough of Tony Pierce that time with a whistle. As soon as the ref blew the whistle, the Stanford, it was a Gucci? Gucci took the penalty kick, and I really wasn't even ready for it. I don't think Tony Pierce was either. He didn't seem to react too quickly to it. Maybe he was screened by the wall of the Blue Huskies in front of him, and the ball into the upper left corner of the net, right by him. The Huskies are going to have to wake up and digging up some little dirt in front of the net, trying to get ready.
And Maloney having some words with Tony Pierce, but the Huskies are going to have to do something. They're down by 2 goals now here in the first half. That's the most they've been down this whole season. Maybe the most they've been down in a few seasons is 2 goals. They're going to have to see what they can do. Lennon controlling the ball. Brings it down the right side to Bill Maloney. And see if the Husky offense can wake up. They have not done anything on this West Coast trip. We'll keep reiterating that. They have not scored a goal yet so far today. Connecticut controlling the ball. This is Tim Mills on the left side looking for Charlie McSpirit and Brian Stevenson, but coming up to make the steal is Jack McGannon. And again, it goes between Stevenson and McSpirit. A whistle on the play. And I believe we get a push called on Connecticut. And another direct kick, and the Huskies cannot do anything right here in this first half.
They're down by 2 goals, and they're not even awake. They haven't been awake the whole first half. We got about maybe 5, I'd imagine about 5 minutes left in the first half, and if they're gonna, if they're not gonna wake up, they just may as well pack it in.
And right in front of the goal, it's a header on goal by a Stanford offensive player. I believe it was Rafalowicz. And it went wide to the left, so the ball does not go into the goal. Renahan was there to make the play just if the ball was coming close. And Renahan is controlling it for Connecticut as he's rolling it back and forth, and let's see what he's going to do with the ball. Connecticut down by 2 goals, 2-0 here in the first half in Palo Alto, California. Harold Darak along with Jeff Hood of the Connecticut Daily Campus. And it's quite shocking to us. They played a very good game versus University of San Francisco, only to lose it, letting in 2 goals within a minute and a half late into the second half. And they lost that one 2-1. And the Huskies really should have won both those games if their defense could have held up. They would have done it. Now we have a whistle, and I believe we have another yellow card. Let's see who they're going to give it to.
I think it's going to be on Joe Maloney. He was screaming at the referee, and he hasn't really walked over and told him. But yeah, that's going to be ref now running over to Maloney, giving him the card. I don't know what Maloney was angry about, but he should. I believe let the ref know.
I believe Maloney's trying to fire up his players because he is standing along the sideline and he can't yell at them. There's no timeouts here in soccer. He can't bring it in and say, okay, guys, I'm going to yell at you guys. You're down by 2. He can't do that, so he just goes and shows off his anger by just giving it to the referee. And I don't believe that the refs have been calling a very bad game. Not at all. They've been calling a very fair game, matter of fact. They maybe let this game go a little bit out of hand at times with some trips. But other than that, they've been calling it for both sides, and Coach Maloney just fuming there on the sidelines.
I don't know what he can be angry about what the refs for, because they really have called a good game.
Well, the Huskies are down by 2 goals with about 5 or 10 minutes to go here in the first half. As again, we'll say, do not have a clock. We're coming down to the waning minutes of the first half. Stanford with the throw-in, and coming in to make the play is Bill Maloney. Got the header up in the air. The ball is still loose in front of the Connecticut goal, but Jim Dorsani will close it away nicely, getting it up to Elvis Comrie. Comrie gets pushed from behind, no call, and the ball is loose, and I believe Stanford will take control of it. This is number 2, Mark Talkington. Talkington sending into the middle for his teammate Jorge Tinger, but coming up away with it is Eddie Lynch, and Lynch sends it on the left side for Eric Myron. Myron passing up the left to Brian Stevenson. Stevenson still in the Husky zone, trying to get up to DeBrito, but kicks it a little bit off to his left, and DeBrito not too happy with Stevenson's play on that one. But the Huskies can't get down on each other. They're going to have to start moving and start doing some play. And right now, Carlos gets called for a trip, and if he gets another yellow card, he'll be out of this game. Nope, not Carlos for the trip, but going the other way. Tom McGannon gets the trip call. As Carlos looking for the sliding tackle, and Connecticut has control of the ball. This is Charlie McSpirit going right at man-to-man with Tom McGannon. McGannon, and the ball is loose in the penalty line, and this is Elvis Comrie. Comrie over on the left side, trying to get around one Stanford player. Sending it in front for a header by McSpirit, wide to the right. But the Huskies trying to wake up there, and Louis Burkhardt yelling at his defense that McSpirit was unmarked in front of that goal.
Nice play by Elvis Comrie getting around the defender. He used some of his fancy footwork that he's famous for. Got a nice centering pass to McSpirit, but Charlie just couldn't get the head on it. And it went wide.
Our halftime guest again, Andy Geiger, the Stanford athletic director. And we'll see what he has to say about Stanford soccer and Stanford sports. Maybe like the California sports. He was also out in the East. He used to be athletic director at Penn and Brown universities. And, of course, Brown is a rival foe of Connecticut, especially in soccer. And we'll see what he has to say right around at halftime. And we'll also have some halftime scores by Tom Bowen, who's doing a really good job as technical director back at the studios of WHUS. We'd like to thank Tom. And right now, Connecticut with another break on the other side. Elvis Conley trying to go between two Stanford players. He got bumped. He's looking for a call, but they're not going to make it. And Talkington comes away with the ball, but Brian Stevenson hustling, knocking the ball out of bounds. And it'll be a throw-in for Stanford along the sidelines. Tim Maisley comes up and makes the steal. Maisley looking to get the ball over to McSpirit. Does so. McSpirit gets it up to Carlos. And a quick one-touch pass goes back to McSpirit and over to Jim Dorsano. Dorsano gets the pass up to Charlie McSpirit just a little bit behind him, and Stanford comes away with the steal. This is Jim Whittam. Whittam sending the ball back to his goalkeeper, Willie Burkhardt. Pedro Labito trying to make the play, but can't do so. Burkhardt outlaws it very quickly with Tom McGinnon. And McGinnon starts up his offense by passing over to Mark Talkington. Talkington on the right side, up for a teammate, but stolen there by Maisley. Good hustling play by Maisley. Gets over to Stevenson, and Stevenson sends it back to Carlos, and the Huskies are on the break. Carlos passing on the right side, but there's no one there. Coming over is Jim Whittam. No whistle on the play as a few players go down. And Rafalovic had the ball. Now another player goes down. Rafalovic is going to get called for a trip as Bill Maloney goes down to play. And we're going to have a timeout. Let's see what we're going to have. Maybe a yellow card on Rafalovic. I believe the referee wants to talk to Mr. Rafalovic. He does talk to him. No card. Just a warning. And the Huskies are going to start the clock with this kick by Charlie McSpirit.
I think I saw someone over by the Stanford, the scorer's table, holding up 2 fingers, so I think a good guess would be to assume that there are 2 minutes left in the first half.
She's right around midfield now, passing it over to Barry Lynette. Lynette now passing it up front for another Stanford teammate, but coming in to make the play is McSpirit. McSpirit sends it all the way back to midfield, and Stanford will have to start it up there. Huskies keep controlling the ball. This is number 11, Elvis Comrie. Comrie looking for Graciano Cornolo. Cornolo starting the second half. He did not do so in the first half. Ball now bouncing around loosely, and Walter Kingston will take it for Stanford. In the halftime statistics, Connecticut outshot the Cardinals 8-7. Corner kicks it with Stanford 3, Connecticut 2. Saves Connecticut at 2, Stanford 1. Now Eric Meyer making a very nice play on Ted Rafalovic, stealing the ball and bringing it back the other way. Myron sending it up for Elvis Comrie, headed away there by Jim Whittam. Whittam gets it right to the foot of Angel Vasquez, and Vasquez looking in the middle for teammate Willie Gucci, but coming to make the play is Jimmy Lyman. Offside, it was Connecticut 2 and Stanford 2, and it follows Connecticut out fouling the Cardinals by a count of 9-7. So that's halftime statistics, very close. The Huskies really should be doing a lot worse on the statistics side of the field since they're down by the score of 2-0. Now a race for the ball between Tittinger and Eddie Lynch. Tittinger wins it. He's right outside the penalty area on the right side. He gets by, almost gets by Lynch. Lynch making a nice play. Tittinger still keeping control of the ball. Now Lynch has it, kicking it up towards the other side of the field, but it goes over the touchline, and Tittinger will have a throw-in from the far side of the field with right around 20 feet, or 20, make that 10 or 15 yards from the penalty area. Now throws it in for Rafalovic. Rafalovic gets a head on it, but kicked away by Tim Maisley right around towards the attacking third of the field, where it's kicked up in the air by Walter Kingston. Coming out to make a nice save is Jim Linehan. And the Huskies have control of the ball. They're down by 2 goals. They're going to have to take their time, but they're still really going to have to hurry up, which doesn't make sense, but they're going to have to keep your cool and put the ball into the net and do it very quickly. Pedro Labito with it on the right side, looking to chip it into Graciano Cornolo. Cornolo is open, but coming up to make the play is Tom McGinnon as he makes a nice sliding tackle to kick it over the touchline. And there'll be a throw-in for Connecticut with about 30 minutes to go here in the game.
UConn hustling a little bit more in the second half than the first half. I'm sure that Coach Maloney had quite a bit to say to him at the end of the first half. He said after the San Francisco game, well, to take over there.
Dorito, a throw-in for Carlos, but he kicks it off the foot of Walter Kingston. Out of bounds, it'll be a corner kick for the Huskies. And we also like to say the Huskies, remember, do have that deep bench. If they can run the Cardinals into the ground, they could possibly score a few easy goals. This is Pedro Dorito entering the area. Shot from goal for Carlos. Across to the Cornell. He has the ball again. Not doing it. Let's see if we're shot by McSpirit, but it doesn't go again. Myron with the shot. Wide to the right. Let's see if the last touch. No, Dorito keeps it in before it goes out of bounds. Centering pass the foot. Header by Elvis Comrie, but no players are going to have a whistle on the play. Let's see what they're going to call beforehand. I believe a foul on Connecticut. Maybe.
I think DeBrito, the ball he tried to say it did go out of bounds, and I think Stanford's going to have the goal kick here.
Let's see where they're going to set up the ball. But the Huskies getting a few nice shots on goal, none of them going in. The Stanford really loaded up the defense. That's all they have to do in the second half is play defensive ball, just go into a defensive shell and stop the Huskies from scoring. I believe you're right there, Jeff. They do seem to have a goal kick. And taking it will be Willie Burkhardt. Burkhardt sending it upfield, looking for the header is number 10, Willie Gucci. Gucci gets it, passes it on the right side to Jorge Tittinger, and Tittinger controlling it right on the midfield line. Lyman looking to make a strip of the play. Now Lynch looking to strip the ball away, and coming up with it is Tim Maisley. A whistle on the play, I believe, Lyman got pushed down in the play, and there's a foul called on Stanford. And the Huskies take control of the ball. This is McSpirit entering the Cardinal side of the field. Graziano Cornolo give and go back to McSpirit. McSpirit loses it momentarily. Now he gains possession of it and has it streaking towards the middle of the field. Pass over to Graziano Cornolo. Cornolo almost loses it, but gets it over to Jim Lyman. Lyman controlling it. Right side looking for Billy Maloney. Coming up with a steal for just a moment was one Stanford player, but Carlos gets the ball, and he just fell on the play. And we're going to have a whistle right outside the penalty area on the trip. And Connecticut will have a penalty kick. Or not a penalty kick, excuse me, a direct kick from about 2 or 3 yards right outside the penalty area, and they're going to have to put this ball into the net.
It's about time that they did. They've had a couple opportunities earlier in the game, situations like this, and the ref looks like he's trying to back up the Stanford wall there.
6-minute wall. Comrie ships it in, and it just goes over the goals and hits the crossbar. So a nice try as Comrie had the ball right on line, just a little bit too high. And the Huskies are going to have to settle for not putting the ball in there one more time. Another goal kick, again by the goalie, Willie Burkhardt.
I thought Burkhardt touched that ball to help knock it over, but it did hit the top of the crossbar, and they're going to give him a goal kick.
Low liner, and Carlos gets control of the ball. He gets it over to Elvis Comrie, knocked away by the Stanford defense. Bill Maloney getting it on the play, and the Huskies controlling this is Graziano Cornolo right side to Bill Maloney. Maloney just outside the penalty area on the right side, step by step with Jim Whittam. He gets around with him. The ball goes out of bounds. Last touch by Whittam, and the Huskies with a corner kick, and DeBrito and Carlos are going towards the corner, but I believe DeBrito will have the corner kick opportunity. And let's see if the Huskies can do something now. They're getting a lot of nice shots on goal. They just got to put the ball in the net. DeBrito looking to set up. Huskies now getting around the mouth of the goal. DeBrito with a low chip in front, looking for the headers. Graziano Cornolo, they'll make that Bill Maloney wide to the left. And Barry Lynette comes up with the ball, and that's the way upfield. Eric Myers going to keep the ball in play, and he kicks it right into the penalty area one more time. Carlos looking for the header. He's not tall enough, and coming up with his Jim Whittam. Whittam over to Pedro DeBrito as he made a bad pass, and the ball is kicked around loosely. Charlie McSpirit now comes up with it for Connecticut. McSpirit going around with the ball, sending a shot. It goes over everybody and everything. And there'll be another goal kick for Stanford, but the Huskies applying the pressure, and it should only be moments before they put the ball in the net, but they haven't done so through one half and about 5 or 10 minutes of play in the second half.
UConn really getting a lot of shots out here early in the second half. I think we played about 5 to 6 minutes. About 39 minutes left in the second half.
Well, the UConn fans are now here. The field and they're trying to be very vocal and lead the Husky team to something. Tinger controlling the ball for Stanford. He gets around Eddie Lynch. Now he's racing for the ball, but Lynch beats him back to it and gets a pass over to Jimmy Lyman. Last touch by Tinger, and the Huskies will have a throw-in back on the other side. He throws it in a little bit too far. Doug Clark comes up with the ball. Now the ball bouncing on loose. Clark and Graziano Cornolo going for it. 2 men are fouled on the play, and they're going to call it against Clark, and the Huskies will have a direct kick right in front of the Stanford bench with approximately 37 minutes to go here in the contest.
Graziano Cornolo playing pretty well today. I think what happened, he didn't start the game. Jim Darsanio started for Cornolo. I think Maloney was just doing that to try to get Cornolo to play a little bit more inspired ball and to let him know that his job wasn't, he had to work for his job, that it just wasn't secure.
Lyman sent it all the way downfield, but Willie Burkhardt made the easy save on the long lobber. And Burkhardt just outlisted on the right side via his foot, but he goes out of bounds again. And this time Lyman will take a throw-in. Lyman throws it on the left side looking for DeBrito. DeBrito gets pushed from behind. No call. That was by Mark Talkington. Talkington came up with the steal, but DeBrito restole it back, and the ball is now loose as DeBrito's vying for it with 2 Stanford players, one of those being Willie Gucci, and the other one Mark Talkington. One Stanford player kicks it out of bounds, and the Huskies will take control of the ball on the throw-in. Or maybe they're going to give a foul on the Stanford player, and the Huskies will have a direct kick, and I believe that's what they're going to call. This is Jimmy Lyman taking the kick. Let's see if he can send the ball and play in front of the goal. He's going to chip one in front. And looking for the header is Graziano Cornolo. He does get the header, but it's knocked away by Rafalovic. Rafalovic gets it all up to Tim Mason. Mason sends it right back to Carlos. Carlos trying to get around with him. He gets the ball into the middle to number 18, Doug Clark. And the ball is still bouncing loose. McSpirit comes up, and McSpirit right side to Carlos. Whistle the play on the left sides on Carlos.
Carlos looking for the header. He had his eye on the ball that time. You can't really blame him for being offside. So it was a nice centering header, I believe it was. And Carlos going for the ball, jumped out a little bit in front too much.
Willie Burkhardt has allowed 7 goals this season for a 1.5 goals against average. Right now, he is shutting out the number 1 team in the country, the Connecticut Huskies. It's Stanford 2, Connecticut 0. And Charlie McSpirit keeps the header in play, heads it up to Elvis County, but I believe we're going to see another. No, this time it's going to be a push on number 8, Tom McGannon. And the Huskies are on a direct kick about 15 yards outside of the penalty area, just entering the attacking third of the field for Connecticut. 2,600 fans on hand. It's sunny. It's been sunny throughout the whole day. Temperatures in about the 70s. Nicely breeze, and a beautiful day for soccer. This is DeBrito on the left side, gets around nicely. Now chips one in front, but a little bit behind somebody, behind the Huskies. Carlos gets a foot on it, and it's kept in play by DeBrito. Right in front again, looking for the header. Elvis Comrie punched away nicely by Willie Burkhardt, and Connecticut will have a corner kick as Burkhardt makes a nice play, but they're not going to call a corner kick. Instead, they're going to say Comrie touched it last, and it'll be a goal kick for Stanford.
Elvis starting off a little bit slow today. Not sure if he has the mumps or what. He hasn't felt well today. That time he was ready to mix it up. He smelled that goal, but they called it a goal kick.
Burkhardt, a low liner, not going to anybody. The Huskies come up with the easy steal. Graziano Cornola on the right side to Bill Maloney. Maloney sending it in the middle, but it's knocked away by a Stanford player and cleared away by Jim Whittam over everybody on the near sideline. So there'll be a throw-in for the Connecticut team. And Maloney will take it. Let's see what the Huskies can do with the ball deep in the Stanford side of the field. This is Carlos trying to get around Whittam. And Carlos has the ball knocked out of bounds by Whittam. And there'll be a corner kick for Connecticut. Quickly, Carlos takes it, gives it over to Bill Maloney. Maloney sends it in play right in front, but I believe it's going to go over the goal, and it does. And so the Huskies are again going to have to let Stanford have a goal kick.
UConn dominating the second half. He played, I would imagine, close to 10 minutes. We don't have a clock here, to remind you, in case you just joined.
Huskies are going to have to score very quickly just to get at least one goal on the board to put themselves right back into this game. If they score one, they have been noted to score goals in bunches. Even though they have not done so far in the 2 games in the West Coast trip, they made it look like soccer was their sport versus University of Bridgeport, but the quality for the Bridgeport team not too good. These West Coast teams a little bit better than the Huskies expected. Connecticut controlling the ball. This is Eric Meyer with it on the left side looking for Jimmy Lyman. Lyman's going to have to race the ball to the sidelines. He wins the race, but sends it out of bounds as he tried to pass it up to Graziano Cornola, but last touch by Barry Lynette. Connecticut controlling the ball. Husky fouled on the play, or whistle on the play as DeBrito went down. They're really double-teaming Pedro, as they have been doing the whole trip, as Pedro's been having some problems getting around some of these players, as he's had 2 or 3 men on him at a time. As they feel that Pedro is probably the biggest link to the offensive side for Connecticut, and he really hasn't done much this trip.
I think what happens is that the other teams have been able to scout Connecticut by watching them on ESPN this year. I know that...
DeBrito in front of the goal is punched away by Burkhardt. Sorry about that, Jeff. Pass to the right side. It goes over to Myron. Myron sitting in front of the goal. Burkhardt again looking for the header as Maloney, but it goes over everybody. And I believe we're going to have a jumping in call on Connecticut as the goalie, Willie Burkhardt, went down.
Everybody there for Connecticut looking for the header. Nice centering pass by, what's it, Cornell?
I believe it's Eric Meyer on the right side. Meyer with the centering pass. A couple Huskies there, but none of them being able to put the ball in the net. Willie Burkhardt will take the goal kick as the Huskies retreat to play a little bit of defense. But Stanford, not much on the offense so far. Burkhardt again, another low liner. Bill Maloney gets a head on it. Headed away by Doug Clark as they're playing, heading the ball back and forth. This time, Charlie McSpear gets the ball, but I believe we're going to have another violation on Stanford. And Connecticut will have another throw-in. And some of these Stanford fans aren't too happy with the referee's decisions right now as they called that one against the Stanford Cardinals. Jim Lyman sends the ball to play. The ball bouncing around loosely. Coming up with his Willie Gucci. Gucci kicking on a few times. Stolen by Graziano Cornola. Cornola with it on the left side. Cornola looking for DeBrito. DeBrito pushed, but no call. Lyman takes a shot. Low wide to the left. He took a strong left-footed shot. But the goalie was ready for it. Willie Burkhardt. Lyman was betting that he wouldn't be ready for it, but the ball was off goal anyway. And no play, no substitutes as the ball did go over the line.
Nice shot by Jim Lyman about 30 yards out. He has a strong left foot. That's what he's known for. And he set a nice line drive, but unfortunately for Connecticut, it was off and wide to the right.
A lot of these Connecticut alumni that are out here to view this game not too happy with the style of play Connecticut had. They expected a little more of the Huskies, and we do have a substitute, Tittinger, coming into the game for Willie Gucci. And another substitute, I believe it might be Neil Tennyson. No, number 12, Fred Hewland. And Hewland has 4 goals on the year so far, and he hasn't been playing much at all. 4 goals and 1 assist for 9 points. And he did not come into the game. This is the first time we've seen him today. Right now, controlling the ball for Stanford is Vasquez. Vasquez sending it into the Connecticut side of the field. Tim Millsy gets a foot on it. Ball dropped down right around midfield. A push from behind on Walter Kingston. But no call as Stanford keeps control of the ball and they bring it down the Connecticut side of the field. This is Freddie Hewland. Hewland passing the ball on the right side for Barry Lynette. Lynette sending the ball right in front, headed away by Jean Spear, but not far enough. He's coming up with his Ted Raflovich. He's a man-to-man with Eric Myron. The ball goes out of bounds and we have a corner kick as Myron literally kicks it out of bounds. But this is the first time we're going to be testing Jim Linehan on this side of the field in this half.
Eric Myron playing very good defense on that last play. He was playing as well as any Husky on this road trip. And now taking the kick will be Raflovich, who has 13 assists. He goes over
the whole pack of them, and coming up with the ball will be Freddie Ewan. Ewan passing up front to Mark Tennyson. Tennyson sending it into the middle. Bill Maloney gets head on it. Now coming up with it is Vasquez. A shot on goal. And went around a few Huskies. Ping-pong back and forth. Canadian comes up with the ball. This is Comrie on the break on the right side. Comrie with McGinn, and Comrie gets tripped. And we're just going to get a penalty call. Or just a foul. But no yellow card because Comrie on a nice break from the right side. It could have been a nice chance for a goal. Now Comrie getting the pass, going up front for sending pass for Lyman, and the ball settled down right in front of the penalty area. Eric Byron trying to get it into the area, but it's going to be knocked away by Barry Lamette. And the Huskies are going to have to go into midfield to start up their offense one more time. So a nice alert play there by Tom McGinn, who tripped Elvis Comrie when he realized Comrie was going to go by him.
That's just what happened, Harold. He was about to get beat on that, so he made the foul and made sure that Comrie...
Cornell in front, a centering pass to Bill Maloney, but Maloney missed it. Sorry about that one, Jeff. Keep continuing.
Well, I basically finished. Don't worry about it.
Well, the ball went out of bounds in the play, and it will be a throw-in by Eric Meyer. Meyer goes into Bill Maloney. Maloney having some problems with Angel Vasquez, but he gets the ball on the right side and he's going towards the goal line, sending on in front, but headed away by McGinn. And McGinn playing some fine defense. He is a midfielder, listed as a midfielder, freshman from Palo Alto. And it's going to be a corner kick for the Huskies on the header by McGinn to get it out of bounds, and DeBrito will take it. About 15 minutes played here in the second half. The Huskies still can't get on the board. They're going to have to start moving. The clock is going against them. They're down 2-0. Here's DeBrito sending away in front, looking for the headers. Graciano Cornell, but it's headed away by number 18, Doug Clark, right to Raymond. Raymond's shot goes into the bunch, comes out to Eric Myron. Myron sending away in front. Cornell with the header, but right to the hands of Burkhardt. A nice save, and Burkhardt can outlet it on the left side to Rafalovic. And Rafalovic has almost a wide open field as he kicks it up for Freddie Ewing. But coming in between the two players is Tim Mason. Mason takes control for long, and Vasquez comes over the ball now. A lot of pushing and shoving. A loose ball in front, and coming up with it will be the man who scored the first goal of the game, Jorge Tinger. Tinger passing on the right side over to Vasquez. Vasquez getting called, I believe, for an offsides violation. And Connecticut will come up with the indirect kick, but the Huskies were a lot of opportunities to put the ball in the net. They have yet to do so far this afternoon.
I don't know if Stanford has gotten off more than one or two shots this whole second half. UConn must have about 7 or 8.
Elvis Comrie with the ball, sending it up for Billy Maloney on the left side. We're going to have a break. It's Maloney and Pedro DeBrito, 2-on-3. Maloney now slowing it up just a little bit, trying to get around one different player. Goes towards the middle, gets tripped on the play, and no whistle, no play. The ball is loose, and coming up with it the other way will be Vasquez. And all the Huskies stopped on the play, figuring there was going to be a whistle. But a very poor play on Connecticut's part, as they should have just kept playing on. And right now, a few bumps and pushes. The referees are now letting this game get a little bit out of control. As Connecticut keeps control of the ball, this is Carlos up to Pedro DeBrito. Whistle the play. DeBrito's called for an offside. It's another poor call by the referee. And DeBrito can't believe it. He's yelling at the linesman. But DeBrito's going to have to cool down. The Huskies are getting very frustrated very quickly here. They have yet to get on the board.
I think that was a poor call on the referee's part. Pedro saw the pass coming and took a look at the line where he was and took a few steps forward to make sure he wouldn't get the offsides call, but the refs decided to call it anyways.
DeBrito on the give and go from Graciano Cornell just saves the ball from going out of bounds, but he trips on the play and the ball goes out in front of him a little bit too far, and Vasquez will have a throw in. Vasquez back to McGinn. Huskies are hustling. They're playing. They're outplaying in the second half. They just haven't been able to get the finishing touches off all their offensive players and put the ball in the net. They're still shut out here, and this could be one of the biggest games the Huskies have ever had. They're Stanford trying to rebound from last year's 7-0 shellacking at Gardner Field, and they're doing it handily right now. 2-0 over the number one team in the country. DeBrito on the break on the right side, around Widow now. He sends it towards the middle, and he blasts into a player. Tom McGinn, the ball is out of bounds, and DeBrito's down on the ground, but I believe it's just going to be a corner kick for Connecticut. Since it wasn't the penalty area, we're not going to see a lot of calls by the referees when the ball is in the penalty area. No penalty kicks want to be given away for free goals. That's how Connecticut scored one of their 2 goals on this West Coast trip so far. That was the winning goal in the Cal Berkeley game.
Substitution for UConn now. We got Jim Dorsanio coming in for Elvis Comrie. Not feeling well today at all, and starting to slow down a little bit in the second half. He has.
We haven't seen much of Elio Romeo on this West Coast trip.
He played against Cal Berkeley.
Here's Carlos with a setting pass, headed by Dorsanio, almost goes in the net, nice save. McSpirit keeps up alive now. DeBrito up alive, and Dorsanio again, but cleared away by Talkington. So the Huskies with 2 or 3 nice headers right in front of the goal. But nothing can go in the net. We have a referee's whistle and a dangerous play called on Connecticut, I believe. And it'll be a direct kick for the Stanford Cardinal team. But the Huskies really applying the pressure now. But they still got to get that ball in the net. We're going to keep reiterating that they're being shut out right now.
UConn had quite a few chances there at a goal. They had about 4 or 5 headers in that direction.
We have a break on the left side. Tinger, one-on-one with the goalie. Renihan comes out, makes the play. A beautiful play by Renihan. And he's going to outrun it on the right side. The Huskies are going to try to see if they can break it on the other way. But Tinger was left wide open. It was a beautiful pass set up by Rafalovich. Made Tinger's play very easy as he got right around the Connecticut backfield, and he was one-on-one with Renihan, and Renihan literally came out and made the play.
Difference with Jim Renihan and the play of Tony Pierce in the first half was that on that play, Renihan came storming out and took control very aggressively and took the ball right away from Tinninger with a nice save, dove out there. But Pierce, on similar plays, kind of went out there half-heartedly, wasn't really sure whether to go or not. But Jim Renihan made up his mind, went out there and got the ball.
Tinger now will have another throw-in from the near sideline, just entering the attacking third of the field for the Cardinals. He gets it into Angel Vasquez, but Vasquez can't keep control of it. Charlie McSpirit takes it and kicks it on the right side, looking for Graciano Cornolo. Cornolo having a heap of trouble with Jim Whittam. The ball goes up in the air, still bouncing on loose. I believe it went off the hand of Carlos. It did so. Then we have a handball violation right outside the penalty area. Stanford direct kick. And the Huskies are now having to play at defense, which they do not want to do. They want to get the ball back into the offensive side of the field so they can apply some more pressure to Willie Burkhart. They feel Burkhart's going to break sooner or later. And he hasn't done so far. Played a very fine game. Burkhart, the defense of Stanford also should be commended because they've kept, especially number 8, Tom McGinnon, keeping the ball away from the penalty area many times. This is Rafalovich. Rafalovich taking the direct kick. He sends it right up front, looking for the header. There's Gucci, but right to Jim Renihan. Renihan was right there to make the play. Good play by Jimmy.
Good play on Stanford, that part. Nice chip. And had a good header there by, I think it was Willie Gucci. But Jim Renihan right there, able to get the ball.
And I was lucky that header went right to Renihan because other than that, they had a wide open. Well, I mean, just the rest of the goal would have been wide open.
That's true, though.
Pretty well. It was, you know what I'm trying to say. I don't think I do. Jim Whittam up there for Angel Vasquez. Vasquez trying to get around Charlie McSpirit. They're in the Stanford side of the field. And he passed over to Kingston. Kingston now trying to get around 3 Husky players. Instead, he just chips on the right side for a teammate. And this is Willie Gucci. Gucci trying to get across the midfield line. And he does so. Stanford trying to take control of this game. They have that 2-goal lead. Pass in front for Tinger. Tinger right outside the penalty area. Man-to-man guarded by him by Eddie Lynch. Pass the right side into the corner for, I believe, Jack McGannon. McGannon sending one in front, but it's knocked away by a Husky and headed away by Graciano Cornolo to Carlos. Connecticut bringing back the ball the other way. This is Pedro Roberto kicking off the back of his heel, looking for Jimmy Lyman. Lyman gets control of the ball. Lyman right around midfield, looking to get it into the Stanford area play, and he does so, kicking it deeply in there, but there's not any Husky to gather up the ball, and Tom McGannon will send it all the way back to the goalie, Willie Burkhart. Burkhart will start it up for Stanford. These fans are starting to get behind Stanford. They're realizing that they have a decisive edge in this game, a 2-goal lead with about 25, 30 minutes to go in this contest. Right now, it's Jim Lyman getting the ball kicked off the leg of one Stanford player, going out of bounds. Connecticut on the throw-in right in front of the Stanford bench. It goes right to the head of the Stanford player. It's bounding loose between a few Stanford players. But Graciano Cornolo makes the steal as he goes right to him. He kicks the ball high up in the air. It'll be headed away by Jim Whittam. And now headed back by Bill Maloney. Maloney just hits the side of his head and it's cleared away by Walter Kingston. All the way down to the Connecticut side of the field where it's settled there by Charlie McSpirit. McSpirit up the field for Carlos. Carlos lets the ball go right by him very nicely as Bill Maloney was there to gather it in. And Maloney going step by step with Angel Vasquez. Maloney gets around Vasquez, but gets the ball tackled away from him by Jim Whittam. The ball now loose on the ground. Gathering it in was Ted Rafalovich, and Carlos made the tackle to kick the ball out of bounds, and it'll be a throw-in for Stanford.
Bill Maloney, a little bit tired out there. He's not really in game shape. He has been bothered by injuries throughout the summer and this fall, and this is his second start of the year, I believe, maybe his third start, but he's not quite 100%, and he's just walking around there pretty slowly. He is tired.
The Huskies on this trip a far cry from the 8-0 to 7-0 team we saw come out here. They're not getting the offense started very well, and they've still been shut out. Out of the 2 goals they've scored on this trip so far, one was on a penalty kick and one was on just a lucky play that the goalkeeper dropped the ball right in front of the goal. They have not done anything that the Connecticut teams have done in the past to put the ball in the net, and they're having some problems getting these plays finished off. Dorsano deep into the Cardinal territory, gets it over to Carlos. They're on the far sideline, and coming up to make a play is Jack McGannon, but McGannon sends the ball over the line, and Connecticut will have the throw-in. So the Huskies going against the clock and against Stanford, and they're down by 2 goals. The ball's up in the air, a whistle on the play, and we're going to have a push on Stanford. The referee's calling a very fair game, maybe a little bit against the Huskies, because not against the Huskies, against Stanford. Because Stanford getting a lot of fouls called against them. The more of the play going that way. Now, ball centered in front. Dorsani looking for that. He heads it down to McSpear. McSpear kicks it on the ground right in front of the goal. Got to the corner. Wide to the left by a few feet. And it was just missed by Connecticut. Another goal kick, and the Huskies are just applying the pressure, waiting for him to break. And now Ilya Romeo will check in the game for the Huskies, maybe just to add some quickness to the front line.
That was the closest UConn's come to scoring today. A nice pass by Charlie McSpear to Cornell. Took a good shot, but just missed to the left of the goal. And at least it's a good sign that the Huskies are pressuring Stanford.
Must be a frustrating sign for Coach Joe Maloney to stand there on the sideline and watch his team, who was pretty much outplaying Stanford, at least this half, and they played them equally, if not better, in the first half, down 2 goals. One was maybe by a mistake by Tony Pierce, and the other one, well, all of them could be credited to the mistakes of the defense, or set up by a Stanford offense. Huskies defense just had a couple of breakdowns, similar to the ones they had versus the University of San Francisco. Connecticut with the ball now in the Stanford zone, and it's Bill Maloney when he gets the ball knocked out of bounds from him by a Stanford player, and they'll have a throw-in. Entering the attacking third of the field, Maloney going for Pedro DeBrito, but it's stolen there by a Stanford player. Stolen back by Eric Myron. And a whistle, and I believe another Stanford violation, another Stanford foul, and Connecticut will have another direct kick.
I have to imagine Stanford has been called for more, or at least twice as many fouls as the Huskies have. I don't know if they've made twice as many fouls, but they've been called for that number.
And another one this time on number 2, Mark Talkington, and Talkington's being talked to by the referee for pushing down, I believe it might have been Pedro DeBrito. DeBrito's been getting pushed around and shoved around in all these 3 games. DeBrito more of a finesse player than a physical player. And he's really taking some punishment. DeBrito sends one over in front, and it goes all the way past everybody. A whistle on the play and a jumping in call on the Huskies. So another opportunity goes by the books.
Pretty good shot by Pedro DeBrito. A little bit long. Charlie McSpear was going after it. May have been able to take a shot, but whistle called before the play could develop.
Urquhart chips one up, and it's stolen by the Huskies, and Ilya Romeo has it on the right side. Over to Carlos. Down in the corner, Graziano Cornolo, kicked out of bounds by Whittam, and Connecticut with the throw-in. Graziano Cornolo, right side, looking for Romeo. Romeo right along the goal line. He gets right around McGannon, but the ball goes out of bounds, and let's see what they're going to call it. They're going to call it a goal kick, last touch by Romeo. Good play by McGannon. Coach Maloney pacing the sidelines very nervously. This team is down 2-0. They are having all sorts of problems starting up. They've been trying to start up for over half of the game, maybe over 3/4 of the game. We do not have an official time left. We're going to assume there's approximately 25 minutes to go. And they're down by 2 goals. And they should have scored by now. They had a lot of opportunities, a lot of chances to put the ball in the net, and a few good shots that just missed here and there. And I believe on the whistle, the clock is stopped. The referee going over the sideline talking to assistant coach Eric Swallow about something. We are about 80 yards away, so we cannot exactly pick up their conversation.
And they're going to call a yellow card on Eric Swallow. Swallow doing the dirty work for Maloney. Maloney already called for a yellow card, so Eric Swallow letting the ref have it. And the ref let Swallow have it with a yellow card.
And that's probably, I believe that's Coach Swallow's second yellow card in his career. Last year versus Indiana, he got his first one. He wasn't very happy with that one. He didn't really believe he got one for what he said at the time, and I'd like to talk to him after the game and see what he said this time. Eric, not known to be one of those type of people who jump up and down on the sidelines yelling at the referees. So I wonder what that call was about. But the Huskies still going to have a direct kick, even though Swallow did get the yellow card. And Maloney now sitting along the sideline. Maybe we can't even guess what might have happened. Jimmy Lyman, left side, gets it into Carlos. Carlos racing with the ball with Talkington. The ball goes out of bounds, and I believe it's going to be a corner kick, and yes it is. And we have a whistle on the play. Or a horn on the play. Excuse me, a horn, and I believe we're going to have a substitution. And now they're going to stop the clock, I believe.
13-10, Rafalovic back in. Rafalovic.
Re-enters the game. That's okay. We learn. Rafalovic re-enters the game, and let's see who's going to...
Casio leaving, going around the corner there, instead of going across the field.
Casio checked in the game just a little while ago. Now a shot, loose ball in front of the goal. It's headed away by one player, but Romeo keeps the ball intact. It's still in the penalty area, bouncing around loosely. The ball is on the ground, but cleared away by number 7, Angelo Vasquez, all the way around towards midfield. And Eddie Lynch will come and take the ball there. Lynch trying to get around Jorge Tinger, and he gets it back into the Stanford side of the field. But Huskies can't control for long as they send it out of bounds.
Charlie McSpear was lining up for the kick and let his leg go, but the ball was clear just before he could get to it. And Stanford defense is really doing a good job UConn has taken quite a few shots, but they're just not letting anything get too close.
And right now, Connecticut controlling the ball. This is Charlie McSpirit. The Huskies 1-1 on this road trip. They do not believe they've ever had a losing road trip in an intersectional meet. Last year they were 1-1 versus Indiana and St. Louis. Year before that versus in Florida. When they went to Florida, I believe they were 2-1 or 1-1. The Huskies have been having some problems here today. They're 1-1 and they're losing 2-0 to Stanford. Connecticut controlling the ball. Charlie McSpirit had the ball for a moment. Stolen by Tinger. Tinger on the left side over to Gucci. Gucci trying to get around number 2. Tim Maisley can't do so. Chips way in front. There's nobody there. And Running will come out and make the easy save. Gather the ball in and pass it on the left side to Jimmy Lyman. Approximately 20 to 25 minutes to go in this contest, and the Huskies are still being shut out. Ball goes all the way up towards midfield, headed around by Doug Clark, sent it on the foot of Clark, and Clark sends it up to Gucci. Gucci racing with the ball with Tim Maisley, and Eric Meyer beats both of them to it and sends it downfield. Meyer's ball is stolen, pop up the other way, and this is Jack McGinn. And McGinn coming down in towards the penalty area, sending a lob in front of the goal, and Renahan comes out, pushes away nicely, and it's settled out to the foot of Asia Vasquez, but Renahan's still going towards him, and now Renahan's out of the goal with a shot in front. It's score! It's scored and saved by Vasquez! As Renahan goes out of the play, and he goes right by Charlie McSpirit, and Stanford has a 3-goal lead, and probably the game!
Jim Renahan misjudged that one. It was a shot. He was racing back to the goal and turned around. Maybe he didn't even see it because he was out in the penalty box trying to cut down the angle. He kicked the ball out of bounds. He saw that maybe he had some time to get back to the goal. The goal mouth ran back. Turned around, I thought he'd have time, but the ball went right by him. I don't even know if he saw it. I don't know what he saw.
But Vasquez picks up his 3rd goal of the year. Huskies are down by 3 goals.
And the shirt comes off, and Jim Lyman's going to take over in the goal. Huskies going to go with 11 attackers. Jimmy Renahan leaves. He played well up to that point. He was taking over for Tony Pierce even. Except on that goal, I don't know what happened. I really don't think he saw it until it was too late. I don't think the sun's not in, wouldn't be in his eyes, not from that angle. But Jim Lyman has on the yellow shirt, and he'll have to play about midway up the field and go back to the goal and make the saves for UConn. UConn about to kick off now, down 3-0.
That shot was taken from the left corner, right on the goal line, and the curve of the ball just sent it right into the goal. Charlie McSpirit was there. He couldn't use his hands. And Jim Leonard was right along the pole, but it just went right by him. The goal is scored. The Huskies are down by 3, and it's very frustrating for Coach Maloney and the followers of the University of Connecticut to watch the team really outplaying the team in probably every statistic except the goal part. And they're down 3-0. Connecticut controlling the ball. This is Charlie McSpirit. Huskies going with 11 attackers. As in the goal right now is Jim Lyman, but Lyman's right around the midfield area. And this is Elio Romero. Romero sending a shot up in front, but it's headed away by Vasquez. Vasquez just scoring their 3rd goal. Tin just scored the first one. His 12th of the season. Gucci scored the second one. Both those coming in the first half, and Vasquez adding another insurance goal. The Huskies down by 3, and it's going to take a miracle here at Maloney Field for the Huskies to come away with a 2nd victory on this road trip. And that's exactly what they're going to need. Tinger controlling the ball for the Stanford team. Passes to Rafalovich on the left side, but the pass up for Vasquez just goes off the side of his head. And the Huskies will have a throw. And McSpirit gets it over to Jimmy Lyman. And Lyman's going to send one downfield for the head of Jim Whittam. The ball bouncing around loose. This is Elio Romero. Romero controlling the ball. Passing on the left side to Carlos. Carlos chipping in front for Graziano Cornello. But Tom McGinn again coming in to make the play between both players. And the ball's going to roll over the touchline. Last touch by McGinn. And Kieran Coffey, who just checked into the game, will have the kick or the throw in. So Carlos in front, headed by DeBrito. Over to Elio Romero. Nice save by Burkhardt. Romero had the header, went right to Burkhardt. And now it's the best opportunity of the game for the Huskies. And Burkhardt is stopping everything. The Huskies are going against an incredible team, as they have been playing excellent defense, and they have stopped everything the Huskies have shot at them.
Pedro DeBrito had a nice header over Romero. Romero had practically the whole net to shoot at. He was right in front. The only problem was that Burkhardt was at one part of the net.
Carlos looking up for Pedro DeBrito, but it's cut in between by Jim Whittam. A trip on the play. I do believe we have a call. DeBrito called for the trip. We have a timeout. And we might even have a yellow card. Let's see what we're going to have.
As I said earlier, Romero, all I had to do was get it to the right or the left of Burkhardt. But he hit it right to Burkhardt, and not much he could do but make the save on that one.
Huskies are frustrated. They're very frustrated. I believe Pedro DeBrito is going to get called with a yellow card. Yes, he is. Huskies down by 3 goals. And it's must hurt. They came all the way out here. They didn't play very well versus Cal Berkeley. Came away with a 1-0 victory. And they played versus San Francisco. Played very well. At the beginning of the second half, played Etzel in the first half. Kept up with San Fran. They took a 1-0 lead, and then they lost it. They lost 2 goals to the Dimes within a minute and a half, and the San Francisco team won. Now they're on the break on the left side. Tinger's racing Lyman to the goal, but Eric Myron comes between them. A whistle to play and a hold on Tinger. And Connecticut will bring it back the other way.
Well, I can't remember the last time that UConn has been down by 3 goals.
That's a very good point. The Huskies are down by 3 goals. Last year, they only lost every game they lost last year was only by 1. Most of those going into overtime, but the Huskies really being outplayed here, and they're going to drop in the ratings if this is the final score. They're going to drop fairly far, right around probably the second 5 maybe, because they're not playing very good here at all. And even though they're on the road, they should be playing Stanford a lot better. A team they beat 7-0 last year. The team is really gelling very well this year. And the Huskies trying to make a move now into the area, but it's knocked away by Doug Clark. Clark makes a defensive play, and the Huskies are trying to hustle, trying to play the game, but it seems like they might be going through the motions. They're down by 3 goals, and they're having some problems getting it started, and they're probably going to score 1 goal. They're not going to get shut out, but the problem is that it just really, we'll see if it really matters. Rafalowicz making the steal, the ball's going to roll out of bounds. On Lyman. And it's going to be, I believe, a corner kick.
Lyman wasn't hustling too much on that one. Took his time in setting up the kick, and went off the foot of Rafalowicz. I get that one messed up. Took his time coming back. I don't know. After the San Francisco game, maybe actually the reason for this trip was to play San Francisco, and now that game is over, maybe the players they just want to go home.
That could be it. They're having a very bad trip now after that San Fran game. And right now the ball is loose in front of us. Tim Maisley has it kicked away by Walter Kingston, controlled by the Huskies. And nice sliding tackle by Rafalowicz. And coming back the other way is Gucci. Gucci sending a shot and goal, but it goes over to the right as the lineman was racing back to get the ball. These fans, the 2,000 plus, are really cheering over for the Stanford team. And we have a few substitutions. Brian Stevenson coming into the game, I believe, for Graziano Cornello. Make that Ilio Romeo. Huskies keeping in their starting front line.
And the transition game for UConn is not going too well. Huskies, they're up there for the offensive part, but once Stanford controls, they're just taking a little bit too much time getting back if they're going to bother getting back at all.
I believe that might be the whole problem throughout the most of the season. When they have allowed goals, it has been the transition from offense to defense. And Huskies have been having some defensive problems since Erhard Kapp has graduated. And right now the ball's coming back in. Tinger now trying to race with the ball with Eddie Lynch, pushing the play by Tinger. And the Huskies will control, but we have to be... How much time approximately would you say?
I think about 10 to 15 minutes. There's not much. I think maybe closer to 10 minutes. And second half started about 5 after the hour. And I get about 17 of.
So the Huskies, really very, very upsetting for most of the team and most of the followers that came out here for the trip. Stanford outplaying the Huskies only on the board. The Huskies really been playing pretty well on the field.
UConn's got a lot of shots out the second half, and they've had quite a few threats that they should have turned into goals. But the breaks, they really haven't had the breaks today. Stanford has had the breaks, but I think they've made their breaks.
That could be a very good point. Making their breaks. McGannon with the ball as he blasts it down towards midfield. Carrying Coffey in a race for it with number 20, Jack McGannon, Tom's brother. The ball goes all the way down to Tinger. Tinger in a race with Eddie Lynch. He coming back for his line. Lyman dives and makes the save, but Tinger almost had a little go.
Jim Lyman coming back a little bit too slow. He got to the goal mouth in time, though, and made a nice diving stop of that ball by Tittinger.
But the Huskies yet to get on the board. Charlie McSpirit breaking the right side. Tom McGannon and Tinger and McSpirit colliding. And I believe we're going to get a push on McGannon.
What a rough play there.
And the Huskies have a direct kick right outside the penalty area. But if you have noticed, it's really Gucci and Jorge Tittinger playing back right around midfield, hoping to get the break on Jimmy Lyman, hoping to really stick it to the Huskies, as the Huskies did to Stanford last year when they came out on their trip. Stanford was 0-4 on their East trip last year. Here's DeBrito sending one in front, looking forward is Graziano Cornello, kicked away by McGannon. Another great play by McGannon. Headed away by Rafalowicz. all the way up to around midfield where Eddie Lynch gets a foot on it, and it's headed back by Stanford, and Stanford playing with the ball back and forth as Tinger puts it up in the air, and a whistle on the play, and I believe we have a dangerous play called on Tinger. Connecticut controls the ball. Cornello sitting on the right side for DeBrito, but coming out to make the play is Burkhart, the goalie, and Burkhart really throws it downfield, looking for a foul, or looking for some sort of break, and Stevenson with him step for step. But the foul is still controlling the ball right around the midfield circle, and he chips it in the left side into the Connecticut zone. Within about 5 to 10 minutes to go in this West Coast trip for the Connecticut Huskies. And it looks like they're going to lose 2 and win 1. They went out number 1 in the country, but we're not going to know what they're going to come back with. And this could be a good experience if the Huskies can capitalize on these 2 losses in the remaining games and come back and play some ball. But they have a break. It's Gucci now. Gucci going out, and Tim Mason intercepting in between both of them. As I was saying, it could be a very good focal point. The Huskies really didn't figure on being number 1 throughout the whole year, if you asked Coach Moore a bit earlier. And maybe these 2 losses could settle down the Huskies and make them work a little bit harder and try to polish those mistakes. And when it comes to tournament time, they could come back and really start to shine there. But they're going to have to do some regrouping, regathering, and thinking about how they've been playing, especially this West Coast trip. 2 goals in right now 2+ games, maybe almost close to 3 games when this game is over. They have not put the ball in the net, and they've come close. This is Stevenson on the right side. Stevenson going at it with number 4, Jim Whittam. Ball goes out of bounds. I believe Whittam was called for we're going to have a corner kick. No, we're not. Let's see. The linesman was calling one thing, and the referee's calling another. We're going to call it a goal kick.
I started to say earlier in the broadcast here that Maloney was not unhappy at all after the San Francisco loss. In fact, he was happy that the team played well because they played pretty well. But this game, I don't think he's going to be too happy about because the Huskies really have not played well today.
They should beat Stanford. They really should. Stanford will record of 5-1-2. There's a break in front. Billy Maloney now getting behind one player. Shot and goal again. Right to the hands of Willie Burkhart. Burkhart makes the save. And to tell you the truth, I'm not sure if Burkhart was tested at all that much today. He made a few really nice saves, but a lot of Husky shots went right to him. And the Huskies are having their problems putting the ball in the net. We've been saying that throughout the whole cast, but that's exactly what it has been. They're being shut out right now, 3-0.
Huskies had a good opportunity at that time. Bill Maloney in the penalty area, and I think he was dragged down there. But no call was made, and the ball was bounced a little bit too high, and with the pressure of the defense on him, Maloney could not get off a good shot.
Shot goes only to the penalty area again, coming out is Burkhart. Burkhart playing a whale of a game today.
He's been very aggressive. He's going all over the penalty box area, coming up with the ball whenever he can reach it. He'll go out and get that ball, and it's not so much that his defense is doing a good job, but he's not relying on them. He's going out and playing his own defense.
He's made the saves he's had to make so far in this game, and it's going to be a long plane ride home tonight or tomorrow for the Connecticut team.
About 5 hours to Atlanta and about 2 hours to New York, and I can assure you it's not going to be too fun.
And it could probably be a little bit longer than those scheduled times, at least in the minds of some of these players. Tonight they're going to have to think about this loss, and this hopefully for the Huskies could be the turning point of the season. They were number 1. They're knocked off the pedestal, and they're knocked pretty far off the pedestal now with this loss.
Well, it's not quite a loss yet, but they do have to score three goals in the next 5 minutes or so to tie it up, and that's not too likely. But you can remember a Brown game a few years ago.
That's what I was thinking, but that's, again, miracles of miracles. Right now it's a corner kick for Stanford. Lyman in the nets, shot in front of the goal, headed away by Charlie McSpear. McSpear gets it right to the foot of Walter Kings, and a shot goes over the goal. And the post as they wake up the crowd a little bit here at Stanford. But the alumni here and the fans who came with the team a little bit disappointed. The Huskies, even though they're been on the far sideline, and they're holding it up high. They're holding their heads up high. It's just that they just are coming up with a loss, and it's very, very sad for Connecticut.
Tom Thompson in the game now. I don't see a substitute. Actually, who he replaced?
I think it's Graziano Cornello.
Yeah, Cornello just gets a drink of water, sits down.
Ball set up field. This is for Angel Vasquez. Vasquez heading it over to Whittam. Whittam crossing the midfield line and sending the ball deep into Husky territory. Lyman now retreating into the goal. Tim Mosley has it, and he's taken down very, very hard. And there'll be a push called on Gucci. And Connecticut will take control of the ball, but the clock has to be running down. If we could watch the scores tables to see how many fingers they hold up here and there, DeBrito takes one in the head right now, and a header by number 18, Doug Clark, and he's down. As Clark got more of DeBrito than he did the ball, and DeBrito's still down holding his head. The ball's still loose. Meyer coming up with it. Meyer over to Coffey. Coffey on the left side, crossing the midfield line. The referee now seeing if DeBrito's okay, but the play is still being had on. Got a trip now called on Stanford, and the Huskies will still be taking the ball back the other way.
Yeah, we got another timeout. As they put the ball back in play. I think that's what it is. They stopped the clock. Only a couple seconds to get the ball in play.
Carlos right in front of the area for Maloney. Punched out by Burkhart. And ball is, again, loose out in front, but kicked away nicely by Rafalovic. And the Huskies try to get the ball back in the play. One Huskies down again. Shaken up by the play, I believe it was Billy Maloney, but Burkhart gets the ball all the way back by his teammate. And they're going to start up their offense about 120 yards away from the Connecticut goal.
And we got Jim Dorsani about to check in here.
That's Bob LeMay, I believe. Right now it's Jimmy Lyman having some problems right in front of the goal. He's going man to man. Eddie Myers going to have to stop the ball because Lyman way out in front of the goal as he's playing that defender goalie. As he almost hit the ball and get behind him. Roger Verdes is in the game now also. Another freshman checked in the game for one of those timeouts. So most of the Husky freshmen are into the game as the Huskies are just riding out the clock and they're going to take the loss. Even though the Huskies front line isn't there, they have all the freshmen back for the defense. And Eric Meyer controlling the ball for Connecticut. Our next broadcast will be this Tuesday. The Husky field hockey team will be facing Springfield from Storrs, Connecticut, airtime 2:55. And Tom Bowen will be on hand for that one. Tom Bowen is our technical director back at the station right now. We'd like to thank him. We'd like to thank Jose Aponte for letting us preempt him on the 4 to 7 shift. Get your Spanish music every 4 to 7 afternoon. Sunday afternoon on the Sound Alternative 91.7 FM, WHUS, Storrs, Connecticut. And Angel Vasquez kicking the ball high up in the air. And it goes by two players, and Rafalovic getting called for dangerous play. Our next soccer broadcast will be this Friday when the Huskies will take their fourth game on the road. This one up in Hanover, New Hampshire, when the Huskies will be playing the Dartmouth Big Green. And Mark Boudreau will be up with that one to bring you Husky soccer. I'll be taking that day off to hopefully catch up in my studies before I flunk out of school. But right now, the ball is on the sideline, on the far sideline, knocked out of bounds by Stanford, and Connecticut will have to throw in.
Quite a turnaround for the Stanford program after a 7-0 loss last year to a, 3-0 lead right now, maybe a 3-0 win.
And it's just a matter of moments before the buzzer goes off, and this game is history. And it's probably going to be sour on the tastes of a lot of the Huskies' tongues, especially tonight. They're going to have dinner with the Stanford team later on. Stanford not playing a dirty game. They just totally outplayed the Huskies on the board. They made their... Not totally in the field. The Huskies really played very well, very aggressive ball. The statistics